Today, I'm making a Tunisian and Israeli dish called Shakshuka. This is the Bombay Chef Varun Inamdar and welcome to Get Curried. Shakshuka is nothing but eggs which are poached in a sauce of tomatoes, chili peppers and onions. So let's begin with that. First things first, let's make the sauce which requires a lot of tomatoes. For this, I'm going to blend some ripe tomatoes to a very fine and smooth puree. I'm going to now strain this puree to make sure all the seeds and skin are collected, and we also have a nice and smooth tomato puree. Finally, what is collected and thrown are the seeds and the skin. The tomato puree is done, strained and ready. In the traditional shakshuka recipe, they use blanched tomatoes of which they de-seed, de-skin and then run into a fine puree. But I've just done a little quick method of running this into a blender, straining it, and now it goes straight to use. Let's start cutting the red pepper into fine dices. The seed and the stalk needs to be removed, and now let's start cutting this. With this, I'm also going to chop some onions. Along with this, I'm also going to take some garlic and bash these up. I'm going to run a knife and make sure it's just roughly chopped. This is done and ready. Let's begin with the cooking process. Let's begin with heating the pan and adding some oil. Well, this is on moderate flame and that's how you exactly want it. Once the oil heats up, I'll be adding in the chopped vegetables. Give this a light mix. A few mixes, a few tosses, and you'll see that this has already started turning translucent in color. That's when you add in the tomato puree. Just make sure you stir it well because this may have settled at the bottom. And make sure you scrape everything into the pan. A light few stirs, and at this stage, we'll add in the spices, the flavorings, and the seasoning. Some chili powder. You can also use in some paprika or some cayenne. Some mixed herbs. Now this could be a mix of oregano, thyme, and a little bit of rosemary. Salt as required. And with this, the main signature spice of this recipe, which is cumin. I've run the cumin seeds untoasted in a grinder and run it into a fine smooth powder. Along with this, some sugar to just balance the sweetness and the tartiness of the sauce. A quick stir, and this sauce needs to simmer and cook for the next 10 to 12 minutes on low flame. When you see that the sauce after 10 to 12 minutes has dried to this consistency, let's break the eggs in now. For that, here's a small little trick to make sure this never spoils. Break eggs individually in a bowl, and with the help of a spoon, what you need to do is just make a little bit of a space and rest this right there. Similarly, let's start placing the rest of the eggs in the pan. I'm just going to add in a splash of little oil and allow this to cook till the doneness of the egg is of your preference. At this stage, you can also cover this with a lid for around a minute or so and make sure the eggs are cooked well. Finally, some roughly chopped parsley. Well, you could choose the curled one or the flat one as per your choice. And do not forget some freshly crushed black pepper.